Major media outlets are releasing their preseason All-American lists, and are some fair to Notre Dame? Are they pretty spot on? We're going to talk about that in today's video with Blue and Gold's Jack Sobel. Go ahead, everyone, and hit the thumbs up on this video. Of course, subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. Go to blueandgold.com for so much more Fighting Irish football and recruiting coverage. So, Jack, I will pop these up, and there's just been two big ones so far for us to talk about. Athlon Sports naming Notre Dame cornerback Leonard Moore a first-teamer, and then you have Anthony Knapp on the second team, Adon Schuler, Kingston Viliamuwasa on the third team, then CJ Carr, Drake Bowen, Boubacar Traore on the fourth team. And then I believe it was just yesterday, Walter Camp preseason All-American list came out. So you have Anthony Knapp on the first team, Leonard Moore first team, and good old KVA on the second team. So, Jack, what stands out to you looking at these early preseason lists?
Well, I think first of all, Leonard Moore is the one lock on Notre Dame's roster for first team All-American status. At least as far as preseason is concerned, and it's also important to remember that literally none of this matters whatsoever. It's just great off-season content, and I say that encouraging you to keep watching the video anyway, because it is good content. But Leonard Moore is objectively, heading into the college football season, the best cornerback in the country. I don't think that's up for debate whatsoever. He is absolutely a preseason first team All-American. Knapp is an interesting one for me. I don't disagree with it whatsoever. It's just interesting that he's getting maybe more props from the national media than he gets with the fan base, which is rare, but it does happen. I think some things biasing Notre Dame fans against Knapp a little bit might be, I think first impression bias is just as powerful as recency bias. And Knapp obviously had a rough game against Miami earlier this season against Bain and Mesidor. I think that might be biasing some Notre Dame fans against him. And then just the one bad rep that he had against Purdue where he gave up the sack. Other than that, his record as a pass protector was pretty spotless last season. He has always been a good run blocker since he started as a true freshman, which I don't think we talk about enough how difficult that is to do, to start at Notre Dame at left tackle as a true freshman. And this year is moving to his natural position. He looked excellent in spring practice. I think he's going to have an All-American caliber season, or close to it. I think coming into the year, I think he should be considered Notre Dame's best offensive lineman. Someone like Gerby Lambert, who has an incredibly high ceiling, or Will Black, could take that mantle at the end of the year, but obviously neither have proven as much as Knapp on the field. The one other thing I would counter with these lists, I think Viliamuwasa has a really, really good case for first team status at the moment, but at the moment I'm not going to split hairs on that at this time.
Yeah, especially with maybe some of those folks not knowing if he's going to be like 100% ready to go for the opener against Wisconsin. I want to ask you real quick about Carr. Like with receiver or linebacker, you can have, multiple, first team All-Americans, but at quarterback, you just have one per team, right? So, the Walter Camp didn't have Carr, and then fourth team for Carr and Athlon. What do you make of that? Like, do you think he should be getting more recognition? It just really comes down to how do you rank the quarterbacks. That's really all that is.
Yeah, it is, Mike. And I think there's a tier one group that includes Carr, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Julian Sayin. You can split hairs on whether someone like Darian Mensah or Drew Mestamaker or any number of other second-tier quarterbacks belongs in that first group. But I think Carr is firmly in that first group. So I think fourth team is the lowest I would have him right now. I'm not going to argue with you if you think he's fourth or if you think he's first on that list. Like I said, it's just splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know if Walter Camp goes as low as fourth team. Do you know? Do they just do like a
No, Walter Camp is just first and second. I can look up who was first and who was second. You can talk for 30 seconds while I do this, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you do that, and I'll go ahead and bring up our second point. In sticking with Carr, Tyler Horka tweets out that Todd McShay called Notre Dame's CJ Carr the MVP of the Manning Passing Academy, and, quote, "It wasn't even close." Horka adds that McShay praised the physical ability of Carr, but said that Carr was the most impressive individual there. To quote, "It was wild to see what's between his ears in terms of the game." of football. So, Jack, tell us about the first and second team there, and then your reaction to what McShay had to say.
So its first team was Arch Manning, second team with Julian Sane. So like I think that at this point, like you can't really argue with that. I mean you can and plenty of people will, but I think Carr is in that first group. I will vehemently argue with you if you don't think he is. But
Yeah.
as far as where he ranks among that first group, I mean it's anyone's case
Yeah.
at this point in time. Let me know if you disagree with that, but that's where I stand.
Yeah. And then on Carr with McShay here.
Yeah, not surprised at all. I think we saw how good Carr looked in spring practice, and not surprised that's carried over to the summer. I think the Manning Passing Academy is somewhere with someone that with Carr's skill set is going to stand out, because a lot of it they're kind of watching to see how they see the game, how they teach the game. Because remember, they're technically counselors at the Manning Passing Academy. So how they teach the game, I think it's no surprise whatsoever that Carr really thrives in that kind of setting. As far as the accuracy, Carr is always gonna look good in shorts. That's not ripping how he looks in pads, because he looks great there too. But his skill set is going to allow him to really dot up, routes on air, and a lot of those accuracy contests that they put quarterbacks through at the MPA. So no, not surprised whatsoever. I really think the more people see of Carr, like what Carr is now rather than what he was last year, because he was still really good last year.
Yeah.
I think, and I think anyone who watched spring practice will agree with me that he made a really strong leap from year one as a starter to year two. And if anyone around the country doesn't see that, they will soon enough.
Yeah, going back to Carr as a high school recruit, like he was always so praised for how he looks in those kinds of settings, and it's not like a knock on him on the football field. It's not that at all. It's just he always looks
Right.
he's such a polished guy. It speaks to how well he was trained at the position growing up. He's also pretty damn good when the helmets are on as well. Jack, Notre Dame staffer Jourdan Blake to the Raiders. This happened over the weekend. It was, from what I'd been told, it was kind of in the works for a while, but he made this, kind of this move official after Notre Dame's official visit season, so that Notre Dame didn't go into summer OVs a man down. So he did, definitely did the staff a solid by working through those crucial official visit weekends. So yeah, the director of recruiting logistics, and the story was yours, Jack. I do appreciate you, including what I had previously wrote about him, talking about how instrumental he was in planning visit weekends, coordinating when the kids come on their visits, like it's a very structured itinerary, and Blake was in charge, and it's right there in his title, logistics. Like he planned like who's meeting with who, when, what different things look like, and then was also big on, as I wrote, handles much of the scheduling for the Notre Dame coaches, recruiting travel, which is a big thing. Like when those coaches hit the road, yes, they have the ultimate say on where they go, but they, like, especially during when the staff's coaching in spring ball, that's their focus. And then they might get a few days after this blue gold game, and then they hit the road. They're not actively planning out exactly who they're going to see. That was a lot on Blake to get with, like, plan that out and bring it to the coach. And this is kind of what I understand, getting third, fourth hand information, but that's kind of how it works. So Blake he did a really good job for Notre Dame, and also led a lot of communication with defensive back recruits, Mike Mickens to Aaron Henry and Jay Codd, like all those coaches, like the actual position coaches talk to the recruits a ton, obviously, but Blake would continue that day-to-day interaction, and then do things like get Coach Freeman on the phone with those guys. So he will be missed going to the Las Vegas Raiders. But Jack, I will say this: Notre Dame is more well positioned to lose someone in the personnel department than ever before, because there's just so many people. They are just loaded. So I don't know if they'll replace Blake with someone. I honestly have no idea, but like I said, he was really good, but also they're pretty loaded in their personnel department, so they'll be okay.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about what Mike Martin thinks about him, that he was one of, if not Mike Martin's first outside hire when he took over for Chad Bowden as general manager. I think I remember writing in the article that he was hired in March 25. Mike Martin took over, I believe, in February 25. So that says a lot in and of itself. I think he once held the title of like director of player personnel. I'm not sure if anyone holds that title right now. I don't think anyone does specifically. But I mean, I mean the titles only say so much when it's a recruiting office with that many people. I think everyone just kind of pulls their own weight.
Yes.
I think it says a lot about his character that he stayed through OVs, because based on what you said, Mike, a lot of his job is essential for OVs. I think with the defensive backs recruit thing, it says a lot that the two really high profile cornerback commits, Zay Hassan and Ace Alston, both stayed committed through the transition, and I believe are not wavering whatsoever based
Correct.
on what you've reported at the moment. So like you said, he will be missed. But Notre Dame, really good position, a lot of talented people in that recruiting department.
Folks, please do hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content, more videos like this to come. So make sure, again, you subscribe to the channel, and more articles, more recruiting coverage, more preseason All-American list fodder over at blueandgold.com. So make sure you check it out. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.